Hey guys, Assalamu alaikum. Hoe gaan het? Namaste. Goeiedag. Guys, I want to talk to you about something important that I've been thinking about for a few days. I have a family member, I have an adopted son, that was exposed to drugs, and I know a couple of my friends exposed to alcohol. So how does that affect your future? How does that affect you making a lot of money? How does that affect your judgment? All of that sort of stuff. I think it's important we discuss it quickly. But I think the issue for me is that when I see how drugs and alcohol affect the ideas behind beautiful people with great ideas, it's very sad. I've supported a lot of drug rehabilitation centers. I've been exposed to a lot of people that are under drugs and alcohol. And the sad part about it for me was that I was so thankful that the way I grew up was just very simple. We didn't have money for alcohol, and sure as hell didn't have money for drugs. But when I do see some of the effects of it, it's traumatic. It's not only traumatic on the person, it's traumatic for the family. The whole family get affected by this use and abuse of it. So I want to reach out to the youth and just say to them, look, when you need an escape, when you need something to be able to make you feel like you're not thinking about your problems, why don't we just chill out and go do some sport? Why don't we do something, some training? Why don't you go to gym? Why don't you do other things that will allow you just that opportunity so that you can relax, reflect, and not always have the pressure of that thought of month end, I need to pay those bills, how much money will I have at the end of the month? It's a continuous issue in our community today. I was listening that there's 7 million people at the moment that are the middle class officially, and that obviously is something that we need to be considerate about and look at those numbers and understand them more carefully. The cost of living is just rife. It's crazy. Numbers are just up, whether it's fuel, food, all the basic stuff. So driving us mad. So you need an escape. But let that escape become something else. You don't have to do expensive stuff. You can go walking. You can go walking in the mountains. You can go hiking. You can go with your kids out to the park. I don't know which park. I can't remember when last I went to one. But you can go feed the ducks. My kids love going to feed the ducks. All you need to do is remain focused. If you have a great idea, it's about having the tenacity to make sure that you keep pushing the idea. Make sure that you don't lose focus of where you want to be. Make sure you're not in a position of being weak and saying, I'm succumbing to this alcohol today. Because then it ruins your chances of taking your great idea, your talent, your personal value, and destroying it just in taking a drink or taking the drugs that most of the youngsters or some of the youngsters are exposed to. It worries me so much. Your parents are sitting at home, your elder brothers and sisters are at home, and when you do stuff like that, you expose them to this horrible, horrible, horrible thing called drugs and alcohol. There are lots of other things you can do. The point I'm making is if you're going to be an entrepreneur, try and keep those two elements clean. This could be the best advice I'd give you. As a Muslim, we're not allowed to drink, surely not allowed to take any drugs. So from a young age, we pushed very hard into following those rules and following the concept of the Quran and so on. And I'm sure it's not a religious issue I'm selling here. It's what I'm trying to say is if you rather want to talk to someone, find someone. Go somewhere where you don't even know anyone. Sit at a coffee shop, go to the bloody bus stop, whatever it is. Get it off your chest. Some of us may not have the money to go and speak to a psychologist because this is a whole new thing. In the olden days, when I was young and someone said, hey, you need to go see a psychologist, the negative connotation with that was there's something wrong with you. It isn't. There may be something too much that's pressed out in your head, and when you apply a lot of pressure on something, something has to break. And when that thing breaks, your confidence breaks. Not only your confidence, but your desire to want to go forward, your desire to want to achieve. It's just reduced. It's put in the back space. It's put in the back seat. You start driving, or should I say it starts driving you. Anything that takes the control of your mind and your ideas and your soul away gives you now a bad opportunity, not a good opportunity, of allowing you to go in the wrong direction. So that's why it's important for you to be a little stubborn. I'm sure most of the girls in my house understand that being stubborn is normal. But you need to understand that being stubborn means you need to focus that and join that with tenacity. Make sure you can push hard every single day when it's not easy. I know sometimes you don't have the money in our accounts. We don't have the money in our pockets to pay the bills, and that just pulls you down. We're just living through this tough time at the moment. But we need to focus on what's important to us, and that's the end game. What is that end game? creating value, making money, obviously, creating a sustainable environment where you're happy, and making sure, most importantly, your family are always happy, supportive, and that you placing a great example on the line for your children and your family at home, because that all amounts to respect, and you need that in your home. So please, youth, don't do the drugs, don't do the alcohol. It just takes away from a great entrepreneur and either gives you a longer period of time in which to get to the finish line. Alternatively, you're just never going to get to the finish line. Don't do the drugs, don't do the alcohol. Cheers.